The Texas Attorney General is investigating Kellogg's over unhealthy cereal claims. And actually, that's kind of backwards. They're actually investigating them for claiming their cereals are healthy, but the AG thinks that they are not. And what do we mean by this? The Attorney General, his name is Ken Paxton. And he said last week that Kellogg's is marketing some of its cereal as healthy, even though they contain blue, red, yellow, green, and orange artificial food colorings. He claims that they have additives that have been linked to health-related issues such as obesity, autoimmune disease, and cancer. Now, part of this investigation, he claims, stems from Kellogg's announcing back in 2015 that it would remove artificial food dyes from its products in the US by 2018, but then the company failed to do so. Despite, they also have basically removed those colorings from products sold in Canada and Europe. So it's not a question of can they remove it, it's that they have chosen not to.
Right.
And if you remember from a while back, we've discussed that it's not just Kellogg's, it's a lot of other companies as well, who, when they tested removing artificial dyes from existing products, dropped dramatically. Okay.
Right.
Now, just last October in 2024, there was a huge protest outside of Kellogg's offices asking them once again to remove dyes from their cereals. And then based on that protest, Kellogg's responded by saying, hey, 85% of the cereal products that we make contain no artificial colors, and we are constantly creating new cereals that do not contain them. The company only uses ingredients that are compliant with all applicable relevant laws and regulations. But basically, it all comes down to this. Several food companies have made these pledges to remove artificial ingredients, and they basically had to either scale back or delay its implementation completely. And the number one reason is not that they were unwilling to remove it and put natural colors in. The problem is that the products with the natural colors didn't perform as well as the artificial dyed ones. For instance, it was Trix cereal. So they, Trix cereal, it's super bright, it's very iconic. It's been the same way for like 30, 40 years. They kept the exact same shape, size, everything of the cereal. All they did was take out the artificial dyes and replace it with natural dyes. And for a few weeks, it looked like sales were going up, that there was, this was a great thing. And then all of a sudden, after a couple weeks, the sales tanked. It was like they couldn't even give the cereal away because nobody was buying it. People on social media were complaining about their favorite, childhood favorite cereal is making them sad in the morning. They love those bright, cheerful colors. They refuse to buy it anymore because of the natural colors. So what do you do when you have a product that's so well known, people eat with their eyes?
Yeah.
And then when you change it or target consumers, the people that always buy your products are unwilling to buy it when it's now in dull, natural colors.
And that's kind of the whole issue, is like the people who complain about the artificial dyes aren't buying it anyways.
Yeah.
Like I get like, maybe they're like, oh, I'm so nostalgic for this, but it has artificial colors in it. But like when you make a nostalgic purchase, like, in a Fruit Loops situation, like I haven't had Fruit Loops in forever, but now it's got all these colors in it. I can't do that. I can't have it. I want my Fruit Loops with no colors. And then you buy one flipping box and then off you pop back to whatever it is you normally purchase. You're not the target demographic. You're not the target audience. You're not the normal purchaser. Catering to the minority when the majority are perfectly happy with a product is what?
Well, and on top of that too, so now that every store on the planet seems to have their own store brand.
Yeah.
I mean, take Aldi's. They offer so many of like dupes for like name brand cereals, and they're all artificial dye free. So it's not like people don't have options. It's not like every single cereal from this company contains artificial dyes, and that in order to get cereal, you have to buy one with artificial dyes.
Right.
So I'm not saying I am against the anti-dye crowd.
No, not at all.
What I'm saying is you're not the target audience because you're not buying this product. So demanding that a product remove the dye, A, doesn't automatically make you Now a target consumer, maybe instead of targeting all these companies that are not complying to what you want, maybe you should be supporting the companies that do offer cereals that don't have artificial dyes. You know what I mean?
I think it's a good idea when they're producing new cereals to move forward without artificial colors. I think that's the way to go. Like if they're producing new cereals that have artificial colors, then that's on them. That's bad business practice, I think, especially if you're patronizing the other items in the lines that are dye free. Right. So that's where the split happens for me, is not really on board with using artificial colors if they're unnecessary. And they are unnecessary. They don't add flavor. All they do is
Don't change texture, don't really do anything
right.
besides the color.
They appeal to kids.
They do.
And that's the part that bothers me, because it's directed specific, even if they say it's not directed at children, it's still directed at children. Because kids like bright colors. And so we know that moms are actually the most targeted demographic because of the kids.
Mhm.
And that's the thing.
So then that also brings up that a lot of these anti-dye crowds put out a lot of information that can be portrayed as fear-mongering, saying that these artificial dyes are the root cause of so many different illnesses. And now I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying that everything from twitchy eye syndrome to autism to ADHD is quote unquote linked to artificial dyes, whether there's scientific evidence to back that up. But the way that a lot of these groups, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying a lot of them that are very loud, they are basically implying that if you are a mom that feeds your child a cereal that has artificial colors in it, that you are a bad mom.
That's bullshit, man. Sorry. I try not to, but
we just have so much mom shaming when it comes to food that you give your kids.
Just let me feed my kid, man. Like I feed. Her and I
I'm just happy that my kid eats. I'm not always happy with what my kid eats, but I'm happy that they're eating.
My kid is bougie. My kid is bougie. She likes goat cheese. Like an 11-year-old that enjoys. We bought blueberry goat cheese the other day because she wanted it. Not me, her. Because she thought it was buy one, get one free.
Blueberry goat cheese include any artificial colors, or were they naturally blue?
They're just blue because they blueberries.
But I will note that one thing that really pisses off the anti-dye crowd is cereals that are traditionally not artificially colored sometimes comes out with limited edition flavors that include dyes. And that really pisses them off, because I guess they all have like a list imprinted on their brain of who does not have artificial colors. And then they just forget their senses and don't look at boxes. They go, oh, well, that brand doesn't have artificial dye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you just need to make a stance. You're either going to have artificial dyes or you're not. And you need to support the companies that you support. Maybe stop bashing the companies that you're not even buying from anyway. So
that's the point.
Yeah.
It's a whole issue if you're purchasing things and all of a sudden they start adding dyes. That's a whole different conversation. Yeah. But if you're not the target audience anyways, bow out.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, especially with, we talked about last week, with West Virginia now becoming home of the crunchy, where you will no longer be able to buy any food with dyes in it. So I don't know which way this is going to go. So we'll definitely be keeping track on this. Let us know down below. Do you think that these companies with iconic brands that have been around for 40, 50 years should remove the artificial dyes, even though it will cost them money as far as sales, because nobody's buying the natural flavor, the natural color? Let us know.